You know, one thing we bring up week to week is these issues that continue to pound and pound into these companies' heads that basically, what they're putting out is not wanted by the fans. And these companies continue to mock the people who shell out money. I used to shell out a lot of money for comic books back when I was younger. Back in the 80s, the 90s, I shelled out a lot. I still have cases of comic books in storage. I mean, I have comic books, not much like what I had back then, but now I still have a good amount of cases left that I have, and I cherish what I have left because these were good stories. They were very good stories. I might still have a couple of these magazines still left as well. Basically, you look to the perspective, that you have a great series. You made a movie that is still cherished. You did the sequel, it was sort of okay. And now there's a sort of a reboot coming that no one really wants. And you know what, it's going to end up in that direction, because that is what most of this that's getting released these days, all this DC and Marvel, we discussed this, the TV series and the comic books, that it's all pure junk. And what has surpassed these companies is Japan, where they're creating that one book. One book alone has just destroyed DC and Marvel in the industry. You look at the top 20 graphic novels, and it's now mostly this year just all Japanese manga. Why? Why is it all Japanese manga? Because it's good stories. They don't throw the activism in this. They don't throw the politics. They don't throw, change of characters and designs and natures that and they don't insult the fans. And I said this in another show when we discussed about the reboot of this particular series, that they want to create either a TV series or a movie, that the people involved know nothing of this. They know nothing. They might have some experiences in the industry, but they don't understand they treat it, let's put it this way, they treat it as an IP. And I said this many times, IP, intellectual properties, because that's what they're buying. That's the thought in their minds. This is an intellectual property. They don't understand that this is a piece of artwork. This is something that people have purchased throughout the years. People have collections of this. And what I'm talking about is the Heavy Metal magazine. It used to be a great magazine. It used to come out some of the most beautiful artwork that was ever done in a comic book sense. And like I said, it created a movie which was very well done, even though it had some little errors in it. And it had a kick-ass soundtrack, which is one of the most important things, is that you have a good story and a kick-ass soundtrack that will bring people to the doors. People mocked when this was put on VHS. They said, you'll never sell 1 million copies. Guess what? They sold 1 million copies of this movie. People still enjoy it. I just bought the Blu-ray version for next to nothing, for a couple of bucks. Because there's still fans out there. There are fans out there. You can't mock the fans. And what has happened here is they've come out with new comics from Tarna, which is the cover of the Heavy Metal movie. One of the most beloved characters in the Heavy Metal universe, next to Den. They've covered her up with armor. And that's in the last issue. And fans didn't like it. Fans did not like it at all. And what did Heavy Metal magazine do? Insult the people that complained about it. I mean, it is amazing what these people, who is running their social media? Who is truly running their social media? Because basically to insult your customer, to insult the customer. I would be fired. My days, my retail days, the days that I worked where I was in front of customers, when I talked to people day in and day out. If I insulted them, I get written up and fired. You don't insult your customers. These are the people that put in money. No matter whether you like them or not, they shell out the money that keeps your company going. Without them, your company falters. It goes down. Now understand, Heavy Metal Magazine is no longer owned by the same owners. This is a new set of people owning it. And most of these people, they've worked in the industry, most of them, and they are mostly activists. They're people who worked in DC and some of the other parts of the industry. And they think that they could put changes that they think, they say, well, people have to change their clothes. Then you don't get the character. You don't get the character. They say, oh, well, she has to have armor, but you've covered her up neck to toe. And if you look at some of the panels, the people she's fighting don't even have armor on. They're still wearing regular cloth. They may have shields and swords and stuff like that. And there's one cover, there's one where she's fighting this gigantic beast. She's in her bikini armor. And that was in Tarna number 4. You go to Tarna number 5, she's covered from neck to toe. Puritan her and cover her up. I mean, you get some stuff where they are telling people that people have more than one clothing. What does that have to do with it? And you go, oh, don't you change your underwear? I mean, I don't know who is behind the social media division in heavy metal. I mean, they tell the customer, have you read the book to understand the context of the outfit? Maybe they did. Did you ask them? Trust us, read it, and you'll understand. No, we don't understand. It is really stupid what you've done. One person says, change sucks, respect your fans. They came back and said, we don't want fans like that. We are good, thank you. No, those are the fans you want. Those are the fans that spend money. Razorfist put a picture out of his collection. He said, I stopped buying it. I used to subscribe to heavy metal, and they used to go by subscriptions. Do you not think by doing this to the fans is going to drive it away? The entire comic book industry is in the grave. The comic book stores that have survived the last 2 years are barely selling comic books. The only two big people that I know that are still selling some sort of large amount of comics are places like Forbidden Planet, and there's one or two others in New York City that still in there. But they now starting to increase their manga. They started to put more manga stuff up. Why? Because that's what's out there, and that's what people are looking for. We have a 3-story manga store in New York City. A 3-story, 3 floors of manga. With a little cafe in between. A little Japanese cafe. Yeah, it's fun. I don't think anybody who's working there now has ever been to a comic book convention. I've been to many of them, and I've bought stuff on it. People shell out thousands upon thousands of dollars to buy product. I mean, the numbers are through the roof back years ago. Today, it's not like the same. This is why all these companies are in deep trouble. DC, Marvel, Heavy Metal. It don't, all these companies are sitting there mocking the fans, creating, garbage stories that people like said, it's not a good story. Well, we made it. It's good in our mind. You're not, okay. You're not making the story for yourself. You're making the story for other people. An artist makes a painting and puts it up in a gallery. He wants people to admire it. He ain't going to sit there criticizing people and saying, "Oh, you don't like it? Get the hell out." No, he wants people to enjoy it, to look at the aesthetics of it, to try to figure out the detail, the structure. And that's the same thing with the stories. You want to learn the stories backwards and forwards and learn the story, learn the characters. That's why, Heavy Metal was a great book. It was ahead of its time. Yes, there's a lot of nudity in it. Yes, it's sexy. But there's nothing wrong with being sexy. I don't know what they have against putting beautiful women on covers. They say respect a woman. Yeah, we are respecting a woman. We're putting them on a pedestal and showing off their beauty. This is the thing that has us in a bind, because they want them all covered up now. They want us to move back to the Puritan days. Long skirts, covered up the ankles, neck to toe, nothing showing. They're not okay with this. But meanwhile, you got stuff like Cardi B and stuff like that that's out there they're okay with. Why? Gyrating hips on primetime television where children is watching. They're okay with that. But when you come back to this, a magazine that basically, people fought their way to get these. I know there was a time that basically me and my friends, we had to go to 3-4 different places just to get the current cover, because basically some of the stores ran out quick. Because we had to save up. We couldn't, some of us couldn't afford the subscription at the time. We had to wait till we got paid, save up enough, and go in and go get it. I missed the Tuesday, Wednesday runs to the comic book store. Because, it was fun, because you went and you met new people. That was the best part. Is like you got to talk. Sometimes you got into arguments, little arguments on there, which is better, this or that. But that was the fun of it. We still, in the end of the day, we still became friends. We said, "Hey, listen, are you going to be here next week? Okay, no problem. Hey, let's get together, have ourselves, grab a bite to eat or something, grab a burger down the block, talk about these things, or get together for a game of D&D or something like that." We made friends, long-lasting friendships at that time. And like I said, we did disagree with a lot of stuff. But that's okay. And back in the day, if we disagreed with a comic book cover or something like that, the industry heard us and said, "Oh, God, we messed up." Giving an example, I think it was the Green Lantern where they changed his costume. I gave him a trench coat, stuff like that. People didn't like it, and they said, "Oh, God, we got to change it back." It's Ethan Van Sciver and all these other guys that talk about this constantly, and they tell you that you can't have this. You have to respect the people that are buying your stuff. You wonder why people run over to Comicsgate and buy the stuff from Sciver and Sweetcast and all these, and Alterna and all these other these new little indie companies that are cropping up left and right. There's some great comics out there. I bought some stuff from Alterna. Some of it was good. Some of it was so-so. The drawings were great. I read some good stories. I haven't finished with my last pile yet. I still have a couple of piles I just haven't gotten into. I got a couple of books. I got a couple of piles. Of course, there's my mangas. There's my light novels. There's so much to read because of this. None of it is from the mainstream comic book industry. None of it. Because basically there's nothing out there that's good. There's nothing out there. I got another story this week. Talks about someone in the industry who basically has been in touch with people that are monitoring who is on Twitter, who is not on Twitter, that read comics. And you're finding out that most people, pretty much almost all, don't even have a Twitter account. Or if they do, they don't even use it toward the comic book industry. They don't talk about that stuff on there. So who's left on Twitter that's talking about comics? The activists, the people, the Puritans, the people, the Twitter Puritans that we keep talking about. The Reddits, all these people that they just sit there, they want to criticize it, and most of them are not even fans. They're just activists, political activists. And this is the reason why this is ruined. This is the reason why Hollywood is, just completely destroyed. You wonder why people, they gotten pissed off at Cruella de Vil, the Cruella de Vil movie. Or they got pissed off at the Mortal Kombat movie. Or the Army of the Dead. There are things when you produce, when you make something, you're making it for the fans. You want to attract new customers? That's fine. But don't screw up with your fans. Your fans are the resource. They're the ones who sitting there passing it on. You know how you get new customers? Let the fans take care of it. One thing, when Walking Dead TV series came out, we're going to leave off on this. When the Walking Dead TV series came out, I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I was discussing it with my fellow co-workers. And people say, oh, no, I don't like zombie flicks and stuff like that. I said, whoa. Understand, yes, there's zombies. Yes, there's graphic nature to this. But it contains a good story. And I explained what the story nature of it. They went and watched the 2 episodes and they got hooked. See, we discuss these things with other people. Sometimes those people say, nah, it's not for me. And that's fine. Not every story, everything, not every subject matter is going to be for everyone. Not everybody is going to watch a comic book hero. Not everyone's going to watch a Japanese anime. Not everyone is going to watch a drama or a comedy. It's their niche. But you know what I've seen lately on YouTube? I've seen a lot of people, a lot of YouTubers out there, small channels. They're watching movies they've never watched before. I just saw one guy, he never saw RoboCop. Another guy who never saw Big Trouble in Little China. Another one who didn't see Blazing Saddles. There's a lot of stuff out there that people have not seen. And that's why I always said, go check out the classics. If you want to make a better product, listen to the fans. They know better because they're the ones who pulls out the dollars. They're the ones, you are making money off of them. Alienate them? That's not the way to go. So you've reached this part of the video. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, share this video. Be sure to comment. Let me know how you're feeling about this. Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I crazy? You let me know in the comments. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you for tuning in. Bye-bye now.